up, everyone? Hope you guys are having the best day ever. So, my name is Tilina. I'm the head coach of Team Empire. So, we are back again with another podcast episode. And today we are going to talk about the two key factors in fat loss. Is actually which is more important. That's what I'm going to be talking about. And I'm going to break it down. And I'm also going to give you some practical information for you to follow in order to get the best results and become the best version of yourself. So, before I actually head down into this live, like if you enjoy this podcast and if you want us to talk about different topics, you can actually comment below, give us a review, and also give us a 5-star rating, or else you can share, because that will actually help us expand this podcast into a lot of people, so they will get value as well. So today we are going to talk about an important topic: meal timing and meal content, which is the most important thing in order to get the best fat loss results. So the reason why I actually wanted to do this podcast is actually the reason being the fact that I used to be this person. When I was actually in a calorie deficit, I made this mistake of saving my calories towards the end of the day, still maintaining a deficit. But one of the things I actually came across while I was actually doing it was the fact that this was actually 5-10 years ago, and while I was actually doing that, one of the things I was struggling with was actually my hunger level, and also the appetite was actually all over the place, and things I was actually going through. So I'm gonna actually deep dive into it, and I'm gonna actually tell you what gets my clients the best results, and more importantly what gets them to sustain the results, more importantly, because at the end of the day, in my 16 weeks coaching program, you can get the results you want, you can get the fat loss or whichever the results you want, but that builds up the foundation for you to actually maintain the results long term, because that's my primary goal in it comes to getting you the best version of yourself. Because at the end of the day, if I restrict yourself from having carbs and all the things you love to do, and make you run 10 miles a day, you will definitely lose weight, and that'll get me social proof. But that's not my goal. My goal is to make sure you get fixed from all over the place, not just one aspect of your appearance, because there are so many things can happen when you actually go restrictive and cut down the things you like. Yes, as competitors we do that at certain points in our prep, but even that quite recently with my competitors who won pro cards, we didn't actually restrict or we didn't have to go really low in terms of the calories for some of the athletes who actually competed recently. And the recent client I'm actually looking forward to see competing this year in season B, one of the things I've seen is actually his calories are 2800 right now, and he's still dropping weight. So I'm assuming the calories will be a little bit higher than usual when he goes into the last bits of the prep, because he's been very consistent. So that's something I'm super excited about. And more importantly, this live is actually for the busy professionals who are trying to get in shape. And I know with your lifestyle and with your routine, most of the time people actually go ahead with restrictions, and you want to get the best solution out there, because there are so many information out there on the internet which actually demonizes the things you like, saying cutting sugar, cutting this, cutting carbs, and that'll actually make you have metabolic damage. And the thing is many people do this mistake or thing about cherry picking studies. So you need to actually know the fact that when it comes to reading research, you need to understand whether it's a meta-analysis or whatever it is, because one of the things you need to understand is if it's actually if it's not a meta-analysis or a randomized control trial or even a review study, one of the things which can happen is it's not going to be conclusive. The reason being, it's going to be mainly based on biased information, in my opinion. Why I'm saying that is because if you want to prove a point, you want to actually justify it, you might actually search it on Google and say, okay, give me 5 reasons why I should cut carbs in order to lose body fat, and why it's the best way to actually do it. If you type it on Google, you can actually get so many information in order to justify that. But at the end of the day, what really matters is actually a calorie deficit. So always do your research and see whether it's a meta-analysis or like a systematic review or a cohort study or like a randomized control trial. So meta-analysis is the highest form of research because it does all the research in order to get a conclusion to tell you the truth. So that's actually the highest quality information out there. So busy professionals, let's go ahead and deep dive into this topic, like whether it's meal content or meal timing, which is important. So spoiler alert is the fact that they both matters. So that's actually the short answer for that question, is the fact that like both matters equally. So let's break it down and let's go ahead into this, and I'll give you some practical examples like what actually matters. So first I'm gonna actually explain the difference between the two, and then I'm gonna actually go down into the importance of which one is the most important and the hierarchy of importance, and why timing will still matter, like, and also like I'm gonna give you some practical examples of like some of my clients who have gotten results recently. And one of the things we did was actually not just being in a calorie deficit, because most of the time, like, the mistake busy professionals do in order to get the best shape is actually because you don't have time to actually have your breakfast. You actually like have your coffee and grab work snacks when you're hungry. So you might have done really good with your career, but your health and fitness suffered by accomplishing those things. So let's deep dive into it. And first, let me explain what meal timing is and meal content means. So let's go ahead with meal content. So it's about like the macronutrient composition, so which comes to protein, fats, and carbs, and also fiber intake, which is actually what meal content means. So when you're having food, it can be higher carbs, higher proteins, or higher in fats, or whichever the one it is. Like, you just need to understand that. So that's actually what meal content means. So you can actually use MyFitnessPal, or if you are a client of mine, you can actually use our app tracker to actually get that done. So you can actually track all the macronutrients composition, and if you use the barcode scanning option, you'll probably be able to get all the other information as well. So and the second part is actually like meal timing. So when you are eating, like if you are skipping breakfast and you are eating dinner after 10 p.m. Or else like you're snacking late at night, that comes into meal timing. So that's actually another factor. So if you get the meal content right, like the macronutrient composition and everything right, but your meal timing is all over the place, your energy, hunger, sleep, and the fat loss can suffer to a certain extent. Yes, in order to lose body fat, you just need to be in a calorie deficit. It doesn't matter like how much calories you consume, as long as it's in a deficit. It doesn't matter what time you consume. But when you are not like focusing on the timing, certain aspects do get impacted. So that's the topic I'm gonna talk about. So when it comes to the hierarchy of importance, when it comes to fat loss, so this is how it like really looks like. So number one is actually like top of the list is actually the calorie balance. So whether you are in a deficit or a surplus, that's what it means. So that's actually number one. And number two is the macronutrient composition. So when you're starting the program, one of the things like I tell my clients is like, if you haven't tracked calories before, first thing you need to actually do is actually to make sure you hit your protein goals and calorie goals initially, and then we can actually focus on the carbs and fat intake based on the response you get. So the macronutrient composition, the most important factor is protein, because it actually like focuses on like rebuilding building your muscle mass and also retaining your muscle mass. So many things will actually like help you, and also it will help you like feel more satiated, keeps you fuller for longer, like I said. So those are the important factor when it comes to the macronutrient composition. So the number three is where meal timing and frequency comes in. So it's not the top of the list, it's not the most important thing. And then like it comes down to meal quality, food quality. So you can actually have you can hit the macros by eating chocolate and like protein sources and everything, but the quality of the food matters to the certain extent. It doesn't mean you need to cut carbs, or carbs will make you like have metabolic damage or something like that someone claimed on the internet. So you just need to understand like the quality of the food matters. It doesn't mean like rice is bad. It's just the quantity of the rice which is gonna be like if it's pushing you towards a surplus, that's not good for your fat loss goals. But if you're actually like having instead of having a banana, like you're having a chocolate, and that's gonna be like different effect. So just like that, you need to understand like when you're actually like what you eat really matters, but it's not as simple oversimplification as telling you to cut sugar, cut carbs, because it's going to make your insulin sensitive and all these things. Yes, insulin spikes, blood glucose spikes when you eat carbs, but that's just a temporary effect for 30 minutes. And it's what really matters for you to be in a calorie deficit is actually like what you actually do within the day, or else within the week or within the month, because that's what really most important factor. So what really matters is actually you not eating more than your energy expenditure. It's as simple as that. So once calories and proteins are set, timing makes the real difference. The reason being, so what affects time, what happens when your timing is all over the place. So basically the things can get affected would be your hunger, your sleep quality, your cravings, and some extent the hormonal alignment and the rhythm in your body, which is what is going to get affected. So that's something like I'm going to be talking about. So here's how like timing can sabotage the progress. So when you say like you skip breakfast, so that's something like most of the busy professionals do. So when you skip breakfast, you might feel good like when you have a coffee like and not eat, and you might feel like you are full, because when you have a coffee, it's actually an appetite suppressant. And then like lunchtime comes, you eat something from outside, thinking that when you actually had breakfast, you didn't have breakfast, you still have a lot of calories left. And even if you do not eat much during the day, like let's say lunchtime, and you go into dinner, you're gonna get super hungry because you haven't had calories or proteins or whatsoever, which is actually gonna make things difficult for you. So this is what creates people to actually overeat late at night. So breakfast is not the most important meal, but when you skip breakfast, it's linked with bad habits towards the end of the day. Like some people, like I would say, like minimum amount of people might actually like overcome that. But just remember, like, are you really feeling hungry? Like, if you're like feeling hungry like for hours and hours, that's gonna make the process really difficult for anyone who's trying to lose body fat. So this is actually the most important thing you need to actually understand when it comes to fat loss. So timing does matter to a certain extent. And the next part which gets affected when your timing is all over the place is when you are eating late at night. So let me tell you something. You don't need to stop eating your meals like before it's dark. And just because it's dark, it doesn't mean like you should stop eating. Because at the end of the day, what really matters is like your overall calories. But when you eat late at night and straight away go ahead into bed, your body temperature won't go down, and that's going to make things difficult for you to sleep. And you may actually like think that you're going to store body fat because your insulin sensitivity is lower in the evening, things like that. But it will affect your sleep. And sometimes people actually tend to overeat at night. And not track their calories. I'm not saying you need to track calories for the rest of your life, but when you're going from point A to point B to get to a certain goal, initial phase, it'll be beneficial for you to track calories, not just follow a meal plan blindly, because when you follow a meal plan blindly, you will not have a fucking clue what's going on, but you will know like you will get results. But the most important part about like transforming yourself is actually like getting educated, because knowledge is power. When you have knowledge, nothing will ever stop you. So always understand that like knowledge is a key factor in a transformation, because when you actually have irregular meal timings, like completely irregular meal timing, it confuses with your hunger cues. So let's say one day you are having breakfast at 8 a.m., the next day you are having it at 12 p.m., and the next day you don't have breakfast and you have lunch at 2 p.m., but still overall you are maintaining a calorie deficit. For a very obese person, this might actually help you lose body fat. Like if you are like at a certain place. But it's not the permanent solution in my view, because the reason being it could confuse your hunger signals, which will lead you to having a binge eating episode. Because one of the things you need to know, like why you became obese, was actually the relationship you had with food, which is not at the best level. So when you actually like completely avoid things, it's gonna make things difficult for you at early stages. But because as human beings, when you resist something you like for a longer period of time, more you end up wanting it. Like things like willpower, they won't last. So always understand like when you have balance, like that's gonna make a bigger difference. So research shows that eating earlier in the day, like a big meal earlier in the day. So my recommendation has been always to like make sure like you eat your first big meal within the first hour of waking up. So when you front load your calories, that leads to better appetite regulation or even better fat loss results, because even the when the calories are like in a deficit, because the reason being your metabolism is more active during the day, because that's the time you're going to be doing your work most of the time. So maybe if you're doing a physical demanding job, it might be the reason. So it's gonna make sure like you're fueling. It's important for your body to like have fuel in the morning to make sure your body runs with whatever you do. When you do it, like you will feel you will burn your you will be ready to burn. So yesterday I had a chat with a client like who finished my 16 weeks program, and he ended up losing 9 kilos like in the 16 weeks. But the pictures, when you actually see it, like it looks like he lost 20 kilos. The reason being the belly fat was massive, and also he actually almost have a six-pack now. So super proud of him. Big shout out to my client right there. So one of the things we did with him was actually like, because he was skipping breakfast regularly before, and he was actually like not eating much during the day, and in the night he was actually like all over the place. He was whacking all the food, and that was the reason why on January 1st he was actually like having a lot of belly fat. But the things were like things I actually like came across when he was actually doing the consultation was the fact that like his steps were like always high, like over 10,000, and some days 15K, some days 19K. That came with a job, not because like I told him to do so. So because of that, he's obviously gonna get hungry. So I can easily go on the internet and say this thing like, okay, having a shake in the morning, which will make you only 2 minutes to make, is the best breakfast for you, and that's gonna help you lose body fat, and it will fix your fat loss problem for life. And if I say that, I'm wrong. Why I'm saying that is because every person is different from one another. What I'm saying is, for a busy professional who doesn't have time to prepare their breakfast, having a shake is the best option. But I'm not gonna like oversimplify and say like that's what works for everyone, because if I say that, I'm not right. So a lot of doctors on the internet says like if you skip breakfast and only have 2 meals a day, and if you cut sugars, they actually say like what worked for them and what worked for their patients. But what really works for the general population is different, and based on the person is what really matters. Because most of the doctors like who you see who goes to medical school don't get a lot of lot of time with regards to nutrition knowledge. What they get is actually to treat illness of people, not actually give wellness advice or nutrition advice. Because I saw a doctor saying never ever in any medical book says you need to go to the gym. Stop trekking, stop doing this, stop walking, stop cycling, stop lifting weights because back pain comes. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, to be really honest. Because the reason being, Yes, doctors are good at what they do, but these sort of dumb advice is actually gonna make people believe them, then they will find an excuse not to exercise whatsoever. So these are dumb statements. I'm sorry to say this, but obviously that was really, really dumb thing to say. So I've actually done some videos on that, stitching them, because reason being, my goal is to actually give you the right information. So people who are unable to exercise looks for all the justifications to actually say like doing exercise will cause back pain. But if you do exercises properly and do without actually like overdoing it, overdoing it, that's not going to give you a negative effect. That's going to actually give you a positive effect. So just because you don't want to exercise, don't go to the internet and find like what's actually like justifying your statement, because if you go on Google or use ChatGPT, you will find plenty of them. So just like that, you need to have an open mind in this. So next part, like I want to actually give like some more real life examples. So with the client I mentioned, he lost about 8 to 9 kilos in a 16 weeks period of time, and he ended up like losing his belly fat completely. And the most important thing I wanted to say is like once you're done with that fat loss phase, you need to start increasing your calories and focus on building muscle, because most important thing is actually not to be in a deficit for the rest of your life, because if your goal is to build muscles afterwards, get bigger, you need to slowly and steadily see your response and like be at maintenance with a slight surplus for a while and focus on improving your training performance. So this client, that was the exact strategy I gave him to actually complete the next 6 months. So with the example, like he was actually skipping breakfast, and what we did was actually like making sure he has breakfast. So he loved the shake, and so many of my clients said like they love the shake in the morning. The reason being, having a shake in the morning and is actually like more convenient. So that's the reason. And I'm not gonna generalize and say like shake is the best option. If you eat something else, you're not gonna lose body fat. That's not right either. So I'm not going to say those things because I'm not as dumb as the people who are on the internet these days. So because of that, like he was able to survive throughout the day with a lot of energy, like till about like 6 hours after the breakfast. So because of that, like he ended up having the lunch, dinner, and when he actually did these things, he ended up getting results. And more importantly, he didn't feel restricted. So losing weight, losing body fat isn't that hard, like when you actually don't overcomplicate the process, as well as you don't actually find justifications for your statement. If you're a stubborn fuck, you're gonna actually justify whatever the fuck you're supposed to believe. So being in a justification mindset is actually I have no words to say about that. But at the end of the day, laws of thermodynamics don't change. You just need to be in a calorie deficit to lose body fat. So let me give you another example of a client. So she actually lost 20 kilos before she came into my program. Didn't do any weight training. Didn't didn't track her calories. But what she did was fasting. And one of the things she was actually coming towards when she actually started the program was actually like she was actually struggling with the hunger levels. And the thing we did with her was actually to make sure we have breakfast well. And because of that, like she was stuck at a same weight for a while before she came to my program. She lost 20 kilos and got stuck. So she actually has lost 3 kilos so far. The reason being, she has had breakfast and she started working out a little bit more from home and doing more steps. And these things actually balance her routine. And I'm about to have a chat with her to see how things are going on week 4. So we'll actually know how things are going. But she's still less weight than she was before. So let me give her. So because of that example, like what we did with her was actually the fact that when it comes to things like rice and curry, if that's the food you love, we actually tell you to control the food portion size. So most of the time when you actually see a Sri Lankan diet, you see a lot of carbs, and maybe if you have balsam bowl, like that will be a lot of fats, and chicken with coconut milk, and that's going to be a lot of fats and proteins as well. So what we actually tell them to do is to actually make sure you moderate the carb portion and add more protein to it. So because of that, this small change will actually work for you long term. So today, because of those small changes, she's waking up with energy and she's feeling the best, and she's in the process of getting better. And yesterday I had another client like who spoke to me, and she has dropped more than 1 kilo in the first week after being stuck for the same weight for a while. And the best part was the fact that she did not lift weights before, she did more cardio before, and gained weight back multiple times, and never focused on hitting the protein goal. This time we actually started higher with the protein. And first week she's making a lot much better progress, and she's waking up in the morning for that shake because it feels good. So, still not saying shake is the best option. It's based on a person's perspective. Some people like eggs, chicken, and bread. Whatever the hell it is, like having more protein and having something more convenient within the first 1 hour of your waking up is gonna make things much better for you. That's what I'm saying. Not saying the shake is the best option. So that's it with regards to this podcast episode. Hope you got value out of it. So always make sure to follow these few things. Meal timing is important. Meal content is the most important thing. It's like the foundation of your fat loss journey. But having a proper timing structure, timing will actually help you have more structure that helps you transform and make sure you stay transformed long term. So if you're nailing all the foods and hitting your macro goals and everything, if your timing is all over the place, that's a part where you should be giving attention to. So always make sure to have your first meal within the first hour of waking up and your last meal at least 2 hours before bedtime, because that will help you sleep better and also help you get more recovery. So hope it was valuable, guys. And if you like this episode, if you have any questions, always make sure to drop us a review and I'll get back to you. And talk to you soon. See you in the next week's episode.